NBA Finals did not follow the script. Michael Jordan missed the game-winning shot and the opportunity to win the championship at the United Center. Karl Malone's 39 points has brought the Jazz back to Utah with a chance to tie the series at 3. Or will Michael claim his 6th NBA title? It's the NBA Finals. We are live and it is game 6 of a possible 7. And back in the Windy City, all the Chicago fans have had to put that bunting away. Is it for a season or is it just temporary? Could be tonight that they're out celebrating. We're going to see in a few hours' time. Alongside me, Coach Jim Braden again. Nice to see you, sir.
Nice
Once
to see
the
you,
Boston Celtics. And you weren't really surprised that we're here for a game 6, were you?
Not overly surprised. Obviously, we knew that Chicago wanted to have the perfect ending right in Chicago. They could party right there on the court, as you know they like to do. But I thought that Utah would show a little grit and pride, and if they got it back to Utah, anything could happen.
That's right, and that's exactly what happened because Utah had to win that game. They had to win Game 5 to make sure there was a Game 6 and then a possible Game 7. Let's see how they did it in Game 5. As Michael and Scotty arrived for Game 5, the expectation was that this would be a quick execution of the Utah Jazz. For Malone's men, it was do or die. Chicago's Toni Kukoc came out firing for the Bulls.
Kukoc to pull up for 3. Yes! Toni Kukoc is smoking.
But Karl Malone had brought his A-game with him and wasn't going to roll over and die.
Malone on a fadeaway jump. Yes, and Malone the runner. Karl Malone just muscling his way to the interior.
MJ was keen to crush Utah's hopes and display some classic moves.
Jordan, the spin, the fadeaway. Michael Jordan. Jordan, same spot, even tougher angle. Michael Jordan.
But Coach Sloan wasn't panicking. Karl Malone was finally delivering the goods for Utah with 14 first-half points.
Malone as he knocks down the jump shot.
Toni Kukoc was still the star of the first half with 17 points. He put the Bulls in a commanding position, but Karl Malone kept knocking down his shots, keeping Chicago's lead minimal. The Bulls went to the outside and to point guard Ron Harper, and then Kukoc got his second half scoring underway.
Kick out, Kukoc who hasn't missed. That streak continues, a two-pointer.
The Jazz's must-win situation seemed to bring out an urgency lacking in the previous matches. Stockton gave them the lead. MJ was forced to take things into his own hands. He showed the desire and determination necessary to keep the game alive going down the stretch.
Michael Jordan is taking over for the Bulls.
Karl Malone had already taken over for the Jazz. The two heavyweights were slugging it out when Utah got a break with a lucky basket. Russell missed the dunk, but got the all-important roll. Then the mailman got some help from Big Dog.
Antoine Carr knocks down the jumper. What a set. Losing the dribble. Carr the jumper. Got it!
With the Bulls falling behind, they went to the man with a hot hand. Toni Kukoc dropped in another 3, but Karl Malone was also feeling it. He had clocked up 39 points.
The jumper. He buries it. Karl Malone.
That put Utah into a seemingly unassailable lead, but then Toni went and drained another 3-pointer.
Kukoc, long 3. Yes! Toni Kukoc has done it again!
With under a second to go, Chicago were down by 2. They had one final chance to win it on their home court.
This is it. 83-81 Jazz. They get it in. Jordan a 3. No good! This series is headed back to Utah.
We know what we have to do now. We have to go there and win a game on their court. Everything else sort of speaks for itself. We had the opportunity to close this series out tonight, and we didn't do that. So now, I mean, this is how the series was sort of laid out. With the 2-3 series, we have the advantage and winning on our home court, but we still have to go there and win a game.
And there's Scottie Pippen at the press conference. We showed you that just to make sure that you were aware of the fact he was at the game. because you wouldn't have noticed too much of him on the call there. Where it wasn't a big night for Scotty, whereas so far he's looked like a bit like the man of the series.
Yeah, go easy on Scotty. I mean, he almost had a triple-double. I mean, he had 11 rebounds, 11 assists, I believe, and only 6 points, which is the unbelievable statistic. But, you know, it'll happen that way. I mean, Tony Kukoc came on, really took over, and really led the team in scoring the first half.
However, you were calling his name all the way through Game 5. He came on, and you were justified, the big dog.
Well, all the collars and flea powder and bones are gone up in value in Utah now because the big dog had a tremendous game. I think it was a long time coming. I think he should get more time on the court tonight, and I think he'll make a difference.
That's right. I mean, you know, a deputy dog up until this point, wasn't he? I mean,
Absolutely,
he didn't see enough of him. But now, do you think Jerry Sloan might be tempted to use him more? I mean, he certainly looked perfect as a foil alongside Karl Malone.
I think he'll have to. I mean, I think, again, we were talking about Tony Kukoc last game, the actual matchup scenario, and why it's so difficult to match up to him. But I think it's important to have him on there for inspiration. I mean, you saw how dead they were, how placid the team was over the course of the first few games. But when he came on, it just inspired them. And he's a veteran. He's a world traveler. He's been all over the place, and he knows what it's all about. So I think it's time to put the men on the court now. He's definitely one of them.
Absolutely. Well, there's an option that they've got. And all the way through this series, it's been, we've used the phrase plenty because it's true, nip and tuck. It's been that way in terms of points and been that way in terms of games. The question is now, though, who has got the upper hand? For a particularly close-up answer, we can go courtside now and have a chat with Iron and Mike.
Well, Webbo, a shift in momentum can happen so quickly in a 7-game series, and we'll find out if Utah has gained the momentum in this series tonight. I don't know, after the Bulls took that 3-1 lead, how many people actually thought that we would return here to the Delta Center, but these two teams are back, Mike.
They certainly are, and give Malone a lot of credit, but give Utah a lot of credit, Ian. They played with they played hard, they were physical, they didn't take any noise from the Chicago Bulls, and the Bulls got a little dirty, throwing some elbows around. I thought the Utah Jazz hung right in there, and that's why they won the game.
The Chicago Bulls, in winning their last 3 championships, have captured them in 6 games. So obviously that favors them tonight. They're used to this situation. The only difference, though, this is a new challenge, doing it on the road.
It is, and I think that 7-game series that Chicago played with Indiana might take its toll on the team. They could start getting fatigued. Jordan has played a lot of minutes. Pippen played horrible the other night, has played a lot of minutes. So that could, you know, be a toll. Then the 10 days off for Utah, that could help out with them because now they could be a little bit more rested.
And I think the Utah Jazz fans and these players, to some extent, feel as if this is second life for them, a second chance, a new opportunity to maybe make history.
You know what it is? They have an opportunity now. You let us come back, they're saying. We're back in Utah. We should take over the series right now. And they do have the home court advantage.
Just a shade under 20,000 fans expected here tonight. It'll be sold out again here at the Delta Center. We'll have all the play-by-play action coming up momentarily. Webbo, it's going to be loud as we send it back to you in the studio. Take it away.
That's right, be earplugs in because that Salt Lake City crowd, they really do let the home team know that they're on their side. When we come back from the break, we'll be bringing you the starting fives and this massive Game 6. See you in a couple of minutes. Chicago Bulls versus the Utah Jazz. It is Game 6 of a possible 7. And, Jim, the reason we're here for a Game 6, fundamentally, because this is going to be perhaps a big issue tonight, is because the Bulls won the second game on the road here in Salt Lake City before taking them back to Chicago. That must be good news for them. They must feel that, well, we've done it once, we can do it again.
Yeah, I mean, that was one of their objectives earlier on, to win one of the games early, take it back to Chicago. You know, everyone probably thought that it would go to 6 or 7 anyway, but it's good that they got to win away from home. They know they can do it, see if they can do it again. But it'll be a totally different situation now because it's the guys have pumped up Utah, and I think the crowd will be in there supporting a very radical crowd, and it's going to be tough for Chicago. I think tonight is the most important of the 2 matches.
Well,
one
absolutely.
out of 2, but tonight's the big one.
Yeah, because as Scottie Pippen said in the press conference, you know, we've now got 2 chances to win it in Salt Lake City. I suspect that Chicago are thinking this is their chance to win it in Salt Lake City.
This is the chance. If they have over, you know, it's 50-50 now, they're back at Utah. I still think the edge is towards Chicago, but after tonight, if Chicago does not close it down tonight, it's anybody's series because the last game on your home court, anything can happen. Forget about, you know, 3-3 or who won what games. It's just one game for the championship, and I'm sure Chicago wouldn't want that situation to come around.
Absolutely. They're going to want to get on with it now. And Iron and Mike, who we heard from there a little earlier on, they're now chatting with us. And the point that Jim makes is a good one, don't you think, chaps, that Chicago must be coming into this one thinking we really do not need a Game 7 because Game 7 is not good for us.
Well, anything can happen in a Game 7, Webbo, and I think that's what is on Chicago's mind. You don't want to get into that situation if you can avoid it, but hey, let's face facts here. they felt that they could wrap this up in 5 games. And they didn't do it. They had a chance to do it at home. That city was bracing itself for a celebration, Mike. It didn't happen.
No, it didn't happen, and no one wants to go to a Game 7 except Utah right now. Chicago would like to get it done right now.
Webo, already this crowd is getting very loud, and they're into it. They are so happy to see these two teams back here at the Delta Center.
Iron and Mike, I have a question from the studio. Just, we talk about the crowd and how much, how boisterous they are. How much of a difference, being there on courtside, do you think that crowd's going to make on the Utah's performance?
I think it's going to make a big difference, Coach. I feel that this crowd all year long has been behind this Utah team, feeling that they can win a championship, and they just had to get this series back here. And after splitting the first 2 games here at the Delta Center, I think there were some fans that weren't sure that they were going to see another game.
Yeah, and Coach, you know how it is. There's only so much you can feed off the crowd. You can't get that emotional because you cannot contain that for 48 minutes. You might get off to a good start with the crowd behind you, but somewhere along the line, you have to stay with what got you, and that's execution, and that's what Utah needs to do.
Time to take a look at the starting lineups. We'll begin with the visitors, the Chicago Bulls. Tony Kukoc, who scored 30 points in the Game 5 loss in shooting 11 of 13. Scottie Pippen, coming off a 2 for 16 performance, 6 points, but he did have 11 rebounds and 11 assists. In the middle, 7'2" Luke Longley. He gets the nod at the center spot. At the guard positions, Ron Harper, who's done a nice job defensively, but really hasn't gotten into the flow offensively. And of course, Michael Jordan did not perform up to expectations down the stretch in Game 5. He had a last shot opportunity to win the Bulls a championship. Their head coach, their director, Phil Jackson.
The Jazz win the first ever Midwest Division title. Unbelievable.
Magic down the alley. Goes to 3. Clock lead. Big Carl Magic. Clock lead. Oh, baby. Big mark everywhere.
He did it. He did it. A new NBA and 16. Congratulations, Karl Malone. 1996-97 NBA Most Valuable Player. And now, ladies and gentlemen, introducing our Utah Jazz. Starting at forward number 32 and 6'5" from Louisiana Tech, the mailman, Karl Malone. Starting forward number 3 at 6'7" from Long Beach State, Brian Russell. The starting center number 31 at 6'9" from Stanford, Adam Pease. On the guideline, number 12 at 6'1" from Gonzaga, John Stockton. And guard number 14 at 6'4" from Iowa State, Jeff Hornacek. The Jazz are close by Jerry's Road.
This crowd is going berserk, and they haven't even tossed the ball in the air yet. Look at the series recap. Game 1 in overtime. Utah taking the 1-0 lead in the series, but Chicago came right back with a victory here at the Delta Center. Then, 2 straight Chicago victories at home. They had a chance to wrap it up at the United Center, but could not get it done. Karl Malone, 39 points, quieting the critics as the Jazz came out with the 83-81 victory to stave off elimination and set up a Game 6 showdown.
And I think both teams, both coaches, both head coaches will try to figure out how their respective teams can play better in the first quarter. It's almost been horrendous in the first quarter. Low-scoring games, good defense, I guess, but the team that can get off to a good start can really give themselves a nice little cushion when they start to miss several shots.
Malone shot 17 of 27 in that Game 5 victory, stepping forward and playing like the MVP that he was a year ago. The Jazz and Bulls take the court. Jordan going for his 6th championship. maybe his last game. The officials tonight, Dick Bavetta, Dan Crawford, and Hugh Hollins. We are set for action. Game 6 of the 1998 NBA Finals, live for you on Channel 4. Ball is in the air, and the Bulls control the tap. They'll have first possession. Jordan in a matchup with Russell. Using the Kukoc screen, Russell sticks with him. Looks inside for Pippen off the double team. Harper dumps it inside. Pippen, uncontested dunk.
See, right away, Ian, it wasn't the triangle offense. Pippen's going back limping a little bit, but they want Pippen against Hornacek. It was very obvious the way Jordan handled the ball and threw it right in initially.
The Bulls strike first blood. Malone had to give up the shot on a turnover. He threw it right into the hands of Michael Jordan. Jordan now watched by Hornacek. Keep it on the perimeter. Kukoc, who had an amazing shooting performance last game. Shot clock is winding down. 6 to shoot. Jordan comes up short. Russell the rebound. Stockton across. And Stockton will back it out. Set it up for Malone. Strokes it over Longley for 2.
Yeah, Luke Longley right there made it a tough shot. Malone faded away, yelling at the official that he got fouled.
Karl Malone has had his way with Luke Longley this entire series. We'll see how much patience Phil Jackson has tonight. Malone able to tap it, but the Bulls will hold on to it. Malone out of bounds.
It's no more force out. If you go out of bounds, Malone out of bounds with the basketball, stays with Chicago. Luke Longley did get a little push in here. That's why the crowd was all bent out of shape about, but Chicago keeps it with new clock.
Tied at 2. Pippen a double team. Harper extra feed. Kukoc a 3. No. And Hornacek the rebound. He lost the ball. Longley the no-look feed. And Pippen swinging the elbows inside for Kukoc and a dunk.
I'll tell you what, Chicago very fortunate there. They threw the ball around a little bit. Looked like Utah would get it, but they gave it up, so the dunk now from Tony Kukoc.
Just about 2 minutes gone by here in the first quarter. Bulls lead by 2. Stockton threading the needle. Beautiful feed on the inside as Jeff Hornacek finished it off.
That was a good screen by Keith, too, to get Hornacek open. Then John Stockton with an excellent pass. Bounce pass variety.
And we're tied at 4. On the outside, Kukoc. Watched by Keith. Put the ball on the floor, and the pull-up jumper for Tony Kukoc. He was looking for the call as well.
Yeah, he wanted the three-point play, but you force him right, he pulls up and hits the jumper. He has the full package, Tony Kukoc.
Kukoc now with 4. Underneath, Malone in the crowd. Jordan came over, and Malone will go to the free throw line.
And Malone really barking at the officials. Did the play to Pippen inside early when he got the initial dunk of the game. They want to go right at him, and he's hurting a little bit as he came up the floor. We pointed that out earlier. He's not right, Ian.
Scottie Pippen.
He's on the inside position during the free throws. He says to Jordan, you go down there. Something's not right with him.
And visibly showing pain as well. Oftentimes you might be able to mask it, but Pippen has not been able to do that. Longley called for the foul. Malone hits the first free throw.
Keeping an eye on Pippen up here. He's looking over towards the bench and trying to shake it off. Looks like something on the side. He might have pulled a muscle on the side by his number 3 in 33.
Second toss for Malone. Hits on a pair, and we're tied at 6.
Tell you what, this is the start Chicago wanted anyway. 6-6 game. Utah, you would think coming back home after a big win would get off to a better start.
Harper clearing out. Stockton in a foul call. John Stockton will pick it up, a side out.
You're right, Harper did clear out, but Stockton held first, and that's what was called the first foul by Stockton.
That's the first team foul on the Jazz. So a new shot clock for the Bulls to work with. Kukoc peering inside. Harper and Stockton continue to battle. Harper, mid-post. Harper backing in. He lost the ball. Keith Pippen away. Here comes Hornacek. Zigzagging a bit, and he coughed it up. Harper leading the break. Harper stripped of the ball and a foul.
Well, Malone with some extracurricular activity to push Harper even more. Ron Harper will come out and shoot 2 free throws here. I'll tell you what, Scottie Pippen made a great defensive play. He got back on Hornacek. Watch it here. He pushes it to Harper, and that starts the fast break.
And the foul called on Karl Malone. So Pippen able to tip the ball away from Hornacek for the slightest of moments. It created the turnover.
And the reason why Harper had the lane, he did get fouled, but Michael Jordan was on the right side. He took a lot of traffic with him.
Ron Harper. He's shooting 59% from the line in the postseason. And he has his first point of the evening. Bulls lead by 1. Harper's second attempt. 8-6 Chicago.
Stockton said something to Malone coming up the floor. I wonder if they'll go to the screen and roll.
Now we see Malone trying to set up. Stockton takes it himself. The blow by John Stockton.
That's what he said. He said, listen, Carl, don't come over too quick. Let me see what I can do with Ron Harper defensively.
Pippen and Hornacek are now battling. Get the sense this is going to be a very physical game.
3-second violation on Scottie Pippen. See, there's Stockton. He crosses over. Harper not able to stay with him. See, he thinks the screen's coming. He checked over with that situation. Stockton goes right by him.
Turnovers. Utah has coughed it up 3 times. They haven't missed a shot yet. They are 3 of 3 from the field. Malone turns on Longley, taking the baseline. The flip is good, but it won't count. Foul was called before the shot.
Yeah, Luke Longley fouled Karl Malone. I love what Malone is doing. It's a jumper. Now he wants to take the drive. Longley in some foul trouble.
Second personal on Luke Longley. Hornacek the jump shot. Short. And it's rebounded by Longley. Pippen streaks ahead. He's picked up by Hornacek. Jordan looking to get going on a fadeaway jump. Michael Jordan.
Recognition, Ian. Michael Jordan has Stockton in low. Pippen sees it, gets the ball right to him.
Bulls lead it 10-8. Jordan with his first deuce. Malone on a double team. And a reach-in will be called. Ron Harper. And Dennis Rodman will check into the game for the first time tonight, replacing Longley, who exits with those 2 personal fouls.
And everybody moves down a lot now. Pippen goes to Keith, Kukoc over to Russell, and Rodman goes ahead and guards Karl Malone.
First foul on Harper. Brian Russell a 3. Rebound to Pippen. Jordan one-on-one with Hornacek. His team up by 2. Kukoc swings it inside for Pippen. Pippen will hold, 9 to shoot. Pippen, the runner. Scottie Pippen hitting the deck and also getting the bucket.
Yeah, he's hurting again, coming up limping. I'll tell you, that's a nice move with the hook, but Scottie Pippen giving it some guts out there right now.
Scottie Pippen now has 4, and the Bulls' lead is 4. Stockton setting up the pick and roll with Malone. Long jump shot. Stockton missing on the 3-point attempt. Pippen working the glass, and he gets it into the hands of Jordan. Jordan to the outside. Pippen lost it. Break opportunity. Numbers for the Jazz. No look feed. Hornacek. The layup rims out. Kukoc the other way. This is Jordan. And he's fouled by Keith. A timeout with 6:22 left in the first. The Bulls take the early lead. It's 12-8 Chicago. Our coverage will continue. This is Game 6 of the 1998 NBA Finals, live from the Delta Center in Salt Lake City. The Bulls looking for their 6th championship. And we will come back to Salt Lake in a moment.
tagliatelle with ham and mushrooms, but without the pasta pan. Mughlai butter chicken, without all those saucepans. Authentic Malay prawn laksa, but without the wok. Sainsbury's offer over 300 enticing meals from all over the world, all of which are ready to eat in under 20 minutes. So you can enjoy great world dishes and a great World Cup. Sainsbury's, fresh food, fresh ideas.
You've done that. You've earned money back. So what do you do now? The new Blue Card from American Express. It pays you to do more.
We're about halfway through the first quarter of this Game 6, Utah Jazz versus the Chicago Bulls. 4-point lead at the moment for Chicago. It is 12-8. And, Jim, we talked earlier on about Scottie Pippen and his influence, or lack of, perhaps, in Game 5. He started Game 6 nicely, but it looks like there might be a problem.
The plot thickens.
Yeah, doesn't
because,
it?
Because obviously Chicago playing, as we said earlier, so many games in the previous series. If someone gets injured with that team, any of their key players, I mean, they don't have as deep of a bench as Utah has. So that would be devastating to the chance of winning this thing.
And we saw Scottie Pippen where the Bulls always like to see him, which is up close to the basket and scoring. But that little wince there, he winced at that point, and he's been carrying something ever since.
Something's not right. You can see it. Even when he made the nice little hook shot, he didn't elevate like he normally does. And it's interesting to see what's going to happen later on in this game, because it could affect the whole outcome of the series.
Absolutely. So Scottie's carrying that, and apparently Ron Harper might also have a touch of flu. The Bulls are going down in like flies. Back to you, chaps.
Jazz getting the basketball following the miss from Ron Harper. The Bulls with a 12-8 lead, 6:03 remaining in the first quarter. A kick ball and a new shot clock.
Watch Rodman and Malone battling there, and coming up the floor, Rodman grabs Malone and he trips. The official just didn't see it.
Lob inside, and Russell cannot convert. He has really been struggling on the offensive end since this series shifted to Chicago. Now back to the Delta Center. Brian Russell, basically since game 1.
I like what Sloan did there, though. He's trying to get him the ball. Got him a 3 earlier, gets him a shot there. He's just not hitting.
Jordan a 3. Book it. Nothing but net for Michael Jordan. And a fair share of Bulls fans have made their way to the Delta Center here tonight.
Well, there's Bull fans everywhere.
7-0 run for Chicago. We've just received word. Scottie Pippen, a bad back. That's his problem here tonight. Malone splitting the defense and stripped of the ball. Pippen leads the way, waits for his teammates to get down the floor.
Boy, Malone with an earful for official Danny Crawford.
Pippen sets up with Keith. The back in. Kukoc will make his move. Dumps it inside. Ron Harper all alone for the layup. And timeout, Utah. Jerry Sloan has apparently seen enough. Full timeout with 4:56 to play in the first quarter. Karl Malone losing the basketball. He wanted a foul called on that play. Some frustration being shown by the Utah Jazz. The Bulls lead the Jazz 17-8 here in the first quarter. More to come when we come back.
Chat and date. Call friends and swap telephone numbers 0894 79 79 79.
Is the money you're saving working as hard as it can, even when you're sleeping? Mine is.
Change the way you save. For the Advanced Savings Account Pack, call B2 on 0800 626262.
Keep getting engaged all the time?
BT Ringback keeps trying an engaged number and rings you back when it's free. Just press 5.
Ring back? I never give the ring back, darling.
So we're in a Utah Jazz timeout, and the reason for that is they're 9 points adrift on the scoring at the moment, and it is now 17-8 lead for the Bulls, and this is not the start the home team wanted at all, is it here, Jim? This is their moment. They come back in front of their crowd, and they've started cold.
Yeah, they want to keep it, tight. They want to keep the momentum going, and it's definitely not something. Maybe the substitution. Maybe this time. Maybe it's dog time.
Yeah, right.
But,
exactly.
I just think that Chicago's playing a lot smarter. Sometimes when you get injury, some injuries, reality hits you in the face, and you start thinking about, wait a minute, let's execute, not do anything silly.
Well, we only have to look back to last year, and I was at the games in Salt Lake, and it was when Jordan was ill. Basically, then wins the game there by himself. The Bulls respond exceptionally well, I noticed, to this Salt Lake City crowd. It is a noisy arena. It's as noisy as it's going to get. Yet somehow the away team seems to draw on that.
Yeah, I mean, they seem to dwell on, on that sort of the adversity, whatever. Certainly, they have a little bit of it now. Scottie Pippen's walking off the court, but yeah, I think they can do well, but they got to do it tonight, I reckon.
Absolutely, yes. This is the crucial game, as we said a little bit earlier on, and we've just seen Scottie Pippen making his way back to the dressing room. Hi, Mike, what's the plot?
Well, a sore back for Scottie Pippen, Webbo and coach, and obviously that is hindering him so far this evening. We'll let you know exactly when Pippen makes his way back out onto the floor. Right now, the Bulls in a good situation. 17-8, they lead after starting the game hot. 70% from the field. Jazz have Howard Isley now in the game, and Antoine Carr has checked in. It is, in fact, big dog time for the Utah Jazz. A foul called Tony Kukoc.
The coach pointed it out that it's big dog time. They go right to him, and there's his numbers. That's why he's playing Game 5. He produced 12 points in 21 minutes. Didn't miss a shot in the fourth quarter.
2 huge jump shots in that final period of play. They came at pivotal times. Illegal defense called on Chicago. First violation.
Kukoc got caught. He came over to help out Ron Harper, who was guarding Malone, but the ball wasn't in there yet, so he got caught in no man's land.
Scott Burrell in the game for Pippen. And how does that change the Chicago offense and defense?
Well, it really does, because there's no really primary ball handler as Hornacek gets free to get a shot. There's no primary ball handler with the Chicago Bulls. It's normally Pippen. Now look who it falls onto, Michael Jordan. But that takes him away from getting open off the ball line.
And defensively, Pippen has just been amazing in this series. 7-point Chicago advantage. Jordan, the jumper. And it's rebounded by Carr.
Malone has to stop flopping. He's trying to get fouls off the ball, running up the floor. He fell down again.
Russell looks to the inside. And a whistle stops play. Illegal defense, Chicago. Second time it's been called.
Now Sloan gets a technical line yelling at Danny Crawford. He's yelling because Karl Malone fell down. Coming up the floor, he wanted to get a foul on that play. Didn't get it. He gets the second tee. I should say the first tee, but Utah will get a technical on the second illegal defense.
So both teams will shoot a free throw. This is the second time Sloan has been called for a technical foul in this series. Jordan will shoot the free throw for Chicago after Sloan was caught arguing and whistled up. Jordan gets the roll. Now it comes to the other side of the floor, and Jeff Hornacek will do the honors for the Utah Jazz, the second illegal defense violation. Here's the play before.
He's flopping. Tony Kukoc couldn't knock Karl Malone down like that if he had a sledgehammer. Malone is a big man. He has to stay running on the floor. He cannot do that.
Hornacek matches Jordan at the free throw line. And the margin remains the same. It's 7. Bulls 18, Jazz 11. Utah holds on to the basketball, a new shot clock. Under 4 minutes to play, we're in the first quarter. Malone defended by Rodman. That's some action away from the ball. Rodman and Malone get tangled up.
There'll be shots now, Ian. 5 team fouls for Chicago. And Rodman gets the foul, and Karl Malone will get 2 from the line. Tell you what, Sloan, it worked. He yells at the officials. He gets a touch foul for Karl Malone to get him to the free throw line. See, Dennis Rodman saying right there, come on, let us play. What are you doing?
First personal on Dennis Rodman. And do you agree with Rodman?
I do. I mean, all of a sudden, you coaches start yelling a little bit, and they start calling touch fouls. First 4 or 5 minutes of the game, the players were dictating what was happening. Now the officials are starting to take over, and I don't like to see that.
We saw Utah change philosophy in Game 5, get a lot more physical. It seems as if Chicago is trying to counterattack that here tonight, anticipating the physical play and getting physical in their own right.
It's true. I mean, that's the only way to beat the Chicago Bulls, is to be physical with them. You know, playing tough, hard-nosed, taking the bumps, giving some bumps out.
It seems so long ago, but that's exactly what Detroit used to do. Kukoc off the mark on the long-range jump shot, long rebound to Isley. 6-point Chicago lead. Scottie Pippen is in the locker room with a bad back. Malone off the double. Ball movement. Russell bounces inside for the big dog. Carr, spin, fade away. Antoine Carr brings this crowd to its feet.
Well, they go right at Kukoc, too, guarding Carr. Now Phil Jackson wants a timeout.
It's a full timeout with 2:58 to play in the first. Bulls in front, 18-14. The Jazz making a comeback following that timeout called by Jerry Sloan. The insertion of Antoine Carr has given Utah a lift.
Not only that, the crowd gets into it too, Iron. They seem to really adore him.
A 4-point lead for the Chicago Bulls. We'll return to Salt Lake City momentarily. Right now, let's send it back. Mark Webster, Jim Brandon.
Thanks very much indeed, fellas. And Jim, I think we're looking at a Game 6 which is completely different in tone from the previous one. This is like nastier, isn't it, out there at the moment? People are looking, they've all got their serious faces on out there.
Yeah, it's getting physical. That, you know, it's getting a bit antsy. You know, down to the end of the series, and everyone wants to win it. Patience are running a little bit thin, and you know it's going to be like that from here on in. So I expect it. I think Utah has to play that way, really, in front of the crowd and mix it up. I think if it's down to execution and the game goes according to plan, Chicago will win it.
And of course, we can see from Karl Malone's reaction as well. I mean, he's chosen to take up swan diving in this first quarter. Trying to get a foul called on Tony Kukoc here.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to go out for the American diving Olympic team. So I don't know what that was all about. As Mike said courtside rightly, is that Kukoc could knock him over with a sledgehammer. I mean, you know, so obviously he's trying to bait the referees, and I think you get a red card in football for that, don't you?
I believe that's the case, and of course I think you'll find Karl Malone would leave a bit of a ripple in the pool if he did enter at that stage. But I suppose it was inevitable, wasn't it? That you know, it's been physical as NBA games can get physical, but there's just a slightly different edge in this one. Even looking at Dennis Rodman's face there, when the way he responded to having a foul called on him. Normally you'll see him create a bit of a fuss because it's the way that he kind of gets into it. But there was just straightforward focus in that man's eyes.
It's getting real. I mean, you know, it's getting real, and you know, it's for real. I mean, Chicago's starting to feel it. Scottie Pippen's in the locker room getting his back attended to. So, you know, the guys out there realize that, you know, different things can happen to affect the situation very quickly. And I think reality has hit Chicago right in the face. And I think you'll see a different Chicago, perhaps.
Absolutely. And Ian and Mike, we haven't seen Scotty since he left for the locker room. We know he's still in there getting a bit of treatment. Crucial, isn't it, whether that guy comes back or not?
Yeah, certainly. This Bulls team feeds off two players, Jordan and Pippen. Pippen huddled up with trainer Chip Schaefer, team's doctors as well, in the locker room. Not a very good sign. Bulls will hold on to it. 3 seconds left on the 24. Last touch by Utah.
Jordan thought Burrell was open for the 3. Got it out to him, but he hesitated on it.
Burrell gets it to Jordan. Jordan, three-pointer. Won't go. Rebounded down low. Loose ball picked up by Utah. Hornacek up the floor. Pull up. Long jump shot is good. Jeff Hornacek knocks it down. A three-pointer.
They gave him a 3. I think if they look at the film, they would know that his right foot was on the line.
Utah on a 7-0 run. Steve Kerr now on the floor for Chicago, as is Bill Wennington. Jordan. Guarded by Russell. Jordan kick out. Burrell a three. And a whistle.
24-second violation, Ian.
Time and run out on the Bulls. I don't know if these players could hear themselves think right now. It is loud. That is turnover number 4 for Chicago.
But the thing has gone downhill for Chicago. As soon as Pippen left the game to go back into the locker room to see both teams with 4 turnovers. Jazz turnovers came early.
Reset the lineups. Isley, Hornacek, Russell, Malone, and Carr for Utah. Malone, pump fake for the lead. It rims in.
Karl Malone put it on the floor, freed himself a little bit. Chicago looks rattled.
A 9-0 run for the Jazz. Jordan, pretty move, fade away on the baseline is short. Rodman the offensive rebound. Check out the Kerr, dish it off for Wennington. That's Bill Wennington's job out there on the floor. Hit those stationary 12 to 15 footers.
Absolutely, Ian. Also, he's in there to guard Antoine Carr. Kukoc really couldn't do it, so they bring in a bigger body to play Antoine Carr.
Wennington gets his first bucket in quite some time. And the Bulls regain the lead with a minute to play in the first. Illegal defense. Utah will be shooting a free throw.
Boy, Malone and Rodman on the weak side, just tapping each other on the backside.
That's a little preview of a wrestling match that will be coming up between Malone and Dennis Rodman. Hard to believe, but it is happening.
I'll tell you what, as Steve Kerr and now Burrell talked a bit, Dick Bavetta, the official, Jerry Sloan worked the officials over, and he's getting every close call now, Ian. It's unbelievable.
Hornacek hits the free throw. Here's Malone and Rodman. Each want to get the last shot.
Yeah, that's what they wanted. You touch me, I'll touch you. But don't tell anybody.
Chris Morris in for Antoine Carr.
See, now Morris comes in for Antoine Carr. Look what Phil Jackson does. He gets Kukoc back in the game. There's too many guys on the floor right now for Chicago.
Yeah, that's 6. And Dennis Rodman will exit. Final 61 seconds of the first quarter. And we have some storylines emerging. Scottie Pippen in the locker room with a bad back. Since he left the game, Chicago has done very little. Isley for Malone. Karl Malone, the leader.
Wow, going to the left side off the right foot and comes back and uses the right hand. That's a tough shot by Karl Malone.
The mailman with 9 points here in the first 12 minutes of action. 35 seconds to play in the first. Jordan, the jumper. Michael Jordan buries it.
See, Russell backed off. Jordan gets it up there, and he's looking to get his stroke. He doesn't want to dominate yet. It's too early in the game, but he might have to with Pippen on sideline with that back.
8 points for Jordan. About a 5.5-second difference. Shot clock, the game clock winding down in the opening quarter. Malone working on a Wennington. Karl Malone, count it, and a foul.
Tell you what, Karl Malone, it doesn't matter if it's Rodman, Bill Wennington, or anybody else. He's ready to take it and go to the basket. There's the shot going that way with the right hand. That's a tough shot, not even using the glass. And then watch him off the dribble get a slight bump. Not really much of a foul, but he gets the benefit.
Malone with 11 points and a chance to make it 12 as he heads to the strike.
And the big dog barking on the bench.
And a carryover from Game 5, where Karl Malone scored 39 points. He is 4 of 4 from the field so far tonight. Here's the free throw. Malone hits. And the Jazz lead by 3. Bulls can hold for 1. But Utah has a foul to give.
And they just gave it.
So So with 8.4 seconds left, Bulls will retain possession of the ball.
See, that's where the Bulls are having problems because Steve Kerr doesn't handle the ball. Jordan can, but you want him doing other things. Wennington certainly can. Kukoc a little bit, and Burrell doesn't handle the ball well. So offensively, the Bulls having a lot of problems.
Greg Foster in for Malone, who gets a breather. 6 seconds to play in the first. Jordan with 4, with 3, with 2. Jordan in trouble, forced to put it up at the buzzer. No good. And that's it for the first quarter of play. Utah Jazz rally to take the lead after 12 minutes. Game 6 of the 1998 NBA Finals. The Bulls leading this series 3 games to 2. Utah getting a lift from the home crowd. They lead it after 1, 25-22.
Balbon, what is this?
Do not be fooled by its innocent exterior, for inside the mega trouble one encounters an exquisite experience that verges on the scandalous.
Oh, stop.
A luxurious chocolate truffle nestling seductively at the heart of creamy vanilla ice cream. The delirium of pleasure received in its devouring is quite unprecedented.
Oh, stop. Your mega truffle is wicked.
Yes, it is rather good, isn't it?
I am not a happy bunny. Pourquoi? I hear you say, I, Serge Lapelle, the man who has dressed the world's most beautiful people. I've just seen the Citroën Summer Exclusive Collection, including the stunning Zara Sensation, with 2 years of free insurance from only 11,995 sterling pounds. Mais oui, electric sunshine roof, CD auto changer, remote central locking, très chic. But I will show them Gordon Bennett.
Zara Sensation with 2 years free insurance.
So at the end of the first quarter in Game 6, Utah Jazz 25-22 to the Chicago Bulls. So a narrow lead for the home team at the moment. But perhaps the most crucial thing, regardless of the points, is Scottie Pippen and this injury. And here he is backstage from a couple of minutes ago. He's still tweaking. You look at that face. And Jim Braden, that's not the face of a man who's completely at one with his body at the moment, eh?
No, I think at this point it looks as though he's going to have an injury for the rest of the game, and basically whether he can continue to play on it and give the best that he can give, because certainly the problems in the court are being exposed as to when he's not in the game. You know, the ball handlers in particular, Michael Jordan have to do the bulk of it. He's a scorer, he's the best defensive player, he's everything. If he has to do all of those different things in order for him to win, obviously it's going to wear them down, and perhaps he have to go out the game, and who's going to replace him? So
absolutely, there's plenty of variations that the Bulls are going to have to come up with now, especially with Karl Malone being hot and getting a few nice calls as well, as this and one signifies. There you go. In fact, well, this is him with his neat little layup there.
There's a nice little touch there. And again, getting the bump, getting pushed away. I thought that was definitely a foul, and he just followed through with the concentration and knocked it down.
Yeah, Karl Malone made sure he had a quiet word with all the referees early on there to let them know that we are in Salt Lake City. Yeah. I would be expecting to get the 50-50 calls in my direction. And Ian and Mike pointed out at the time as well, that's looking like it might be the case. At the moment, we think we know who the home team are. OK, the second quarter has just kicked off. We can get back to Ian and Mike.
Thank you, Webbo. Shandon Anderson spins it through to start a second quarter of play. And the Utah Jazz with a 27-22 lead on the Chicago Bulls. A whistle stops play, some action away from the ball. Burrell got tussled with Anderson.
And there's Shandon Anderson, who gives the Utah Jazz a big lift off the bench, going to that box down there and scoring with a scoop shot. This is a horrible team out here for Chicago right now. There's a lot of bench players. Kukoc's the only starter out there.
Personal foul on Morris. Now a foul has been called on Foster with Jordan on the bench. This is the team that Phil Jackson has sent out. Judd Bushler, Steve Kerr, Tony Kukoc, Bill Wennington, and Scott Burrell. Wennington posting up, tried to hand it to Kukoc. He wasn't looking. Foster kept it alive. Came off Isley, out of bounds.
See, the thing is, Ian, they're good players out there for Chicago, but they feed off Jordan and Pippen. They make them better. Without them out there, those guys will struggle to score baskets.
Also, Mike, how often have you seen this unit out on the floor over the course of this season?
Well, Jackson has to give Jordan a rest. He played 12 hard minutes in the first quarter. Normally, Pippen would be out there now to control the tempo with this team. But with his back injury, Phil Jackson has no other way to go. And, Chicago down 5 now. If this thing gets out of hand like 7 or 9, he'll be forced to bring Michael back in the game.
Well, let's see what this team can do. They don't have their primetime players on the floor. Bill Wennington called for traveling.
He has to catch it and shoot it. Bill Wennington doesn't have the capabilities of putting it on the floor and scoring.
And Dennis Rodman pops off the bench. Turnover number 6 for Chicago. Isley being guarded by Kerr. Anderson trying to set up with Burrell. Illegal defense, Chicago. Another free throw coming up for the Jazz.
It's a ridiculous call. It has nothing to do with what's going on. It's the right call, but it has nothing. The NBA needs to do something about this. It has nothing to do with what's going on where the ball is. Judd Bushell's has his heel on the free throw line, and that's an illegal defense on the other side. Strong side is where the ball is. Weak side is where the ball is not, and that's what Bushell was on the weak side.
Howard Isley shooting 92% from the line during the postseason. He cans the free throw, and the Jazz now lead by 6.
Here it is. There's Judd Bushler. He's below the free throw line. Look where the ball is, all the way on the left side. It has nothing to do with what's going on. I don't like the call.
Isley with Kerr. Anderson a double team. Foster makes a cut. Foster, a kick out to the referee. Out of bounds.
Well, he can't shoot.
Mike, who will the Bulls look to for the offensive load here with no Jordan and Pippen?
Well, obviously Kerr, but they'll play him tough, so you don't have Jordan and Pippen to get him the basketball. Kukoc will have to do most of the scoring, though.
Tony Kukoc, there's the jumper. Short. Bushler tried to go upstairs to get it, but could not. Morris for Isley. Isley flicks a pass inside. Carr tried to put it off the window. Bushler. And they get it ahead to Kerr, who'll handle the ball.
You see Isley came right out there, met him right at the three-point line. Won't give him an inch out there.
You take away Kerr's shot, he doesn't have much else in that repertoire. Inside, Tony Kukoc.
He's moved without the ball. Rodman, an excellent passer, Ryan, feeds him inside.
Kukoc has 6. Utah's lead is 4. Just over 2 minutes elapsed in the second quarter. Isley gets it down low. Carr using his body on Rodman. Off the double team. Over the head of Anderson. Retrieved by Isley. 1 second left to shoot. Isley a 3. It won't count. A 24-second violation.
Dick Pavetta signaling the ball was in his hands. That's why he was shooting with the wrist. The ball was in his hands. I think it looked pretty good, Ian.
Jerry Sloan, incredulous.
Here it is. Watch the shot clock goes to 0. It's a good shot. The ball is out of his hand. It's a good shot. Dick Pavetta, a good official, missed it.
And a timeout. Those 3 points will not appear on the scoreboard. The Jazz 28, the Bulls 24.
You know, Dave, I've got a mad urge to buy a tower.
Darling, you know I love a tower.
All right, honey. I'll buy you one.
I can't resist men who get into their spending urges.
So, Ivan, have you ever had a tower before?
You bet, darling.
the KFC Zinger Tower Burger.
Welcome back to the second quarter of play, and Jim Brandon, we got the score has been affected there or not, whichever way you look at it, because we have to have a quick look here at how Isley's three that wasn't, and perhaps might have been. What do you think?
Yeah, it looked like it was good. If the clock we're looking at is okay, because as you know, at home, he releases it. It's when the ball leaves your hands, your body, your last touch of the ball. Okay, and it looked like the clock had 1 on it, and then it went to 0, and it looked like it was a good shot, really.
So it could have been 24-31 to Utah, and that would have been the difference. And, of course, it's a little bit misleading as well. I've been in the situation in the arena because you get the buzzer, but the buzzer, the buzzer makes a noise for 2 seconds. So you get a buzzer and the clock running down, but clearly there was still a second on that clock, so that's the important thing from their point of view. We saw there in the last few minutes a really strange Chicago Bulls lineup, and frankly, by the time they've got to this stage, Phil Jackson must be pretty pleased because they managed to draw some points back.
I mean, I think, we said earlier that it's a bad lineup because they've never been on the court, having to depend on that lineup before. But I would imagine in practice, Phil Jackson would have tried to experiment just in case something happened like this. And you never want to get caught totally cold when situations like this arise. But I think they did a great job. They bought a lot of time. Michael Jordan is on the bench. Scottie Pippen's back with the physio. And they're only down a handful of points. So it's a great situation for Chicago.
And perhaps Phil Jackson's had a quick look at a few guys to see if there's anyone there he might be able to turn to later on. Let's see how this game picks up from here. Iron and Mike.
Well, one of those players that you just alluded to, Judd Bushler, knocking down the jump shot. Now the Utah Jazz lead is now 2. Michael Jordan has returned for the Bulls, and Karl Malone is back in there for Utah. Isley feeds the post. Malone, double team. Malone gets around Rodman. Longley closes. The flip, no good. Kerr gets knocked to the floor. Ball knocked out of bounds, and last touch, Jazz.
It's a bumpy game right now. Everybody has the ball. They're being touched. They're being shouldered. And the officials let that go. See, watch Jordan now. He'll make these guys better. All right, Bushler got a shot from Jordan before. See, Michael demands so much pressure. These other people out there will get open.
Kerr. It's going the other way. Offensive foul has been called on Chicago.
Well, there's one makeup. This is Steve Kerr. They'll call a foul on Kerr, setting a screen right there with his backside out. That happens night in and night out in the NBA. Hugh Hollins makes up for one of the miscues of the officials before, not letting that 3 go by Isley.
We are now receiving word that Scottie Pippen is not expected to return to action tonight. What a loss that would be for the Chicago Bulls. Scottie Pippen in the locker room with a back injury is not expected to play the rest of the evening. It's 28-26 Jazz. John Stockton back on the floor for Utah. Carr bounces inside Malone. And he's called for traveling.
Yeah, he shuffled the feet before he got it. Ian, this is major news that you just said. Scottie Pippen, if he does not play, that really puts a big load on Michael Jordan and the rest of his teammates to try to come back and win this game. I mean, there's 8:18 left here in the second quarter. Bulls only down 2, but they really count on Pippen for so much.
Tony Kukoc replaces Judd Bushler. A 2-point Utah lead. Jordan for the tie. In and out. Rodman kept it alive, but it's claimed by the Jazz. Stockton over for Carr, the jump shot. Antoine Carr. And the dog pound is out at the Delta Center. (30-26) Utah. George pump fake, leaning in. Oh, what a move.
Well, he left the defense standing there. See, that's where George should go, down low. He's very comfortable in there. The shot doesn't seem to be going in. Let him get a stroke through that, in low or through the free throw line.
Jordan now with 10 points on 4 of 10 shooting. Malone in a crowd. Malone following his own shot for 2.
Well, he knew where it would come off. He has a big grin on the way back down the floor.
tell you, he's enjoying himself. 14 points on 5 of 7 shooting. And trying to shed the label of not being a clutch player. Jordan left alone for 3. Oh, yes.
I'll tell you what, don't count the Bulls out when that man is out on the floor, number 23, because he'll do some things to turn your head around.
13 for Jordan. Backdoor feed. Anderson found the trailer. Antoine Carr.
Jordan overplayed. The lob pass came down. The defense helped out, but Carr was left open.
6 points for the man they call the big dog. Utah's bench coming through so far. Jordan goes behind the back. Kerr swings it over for Kukoc for 2.
Boy, John Stockton almost ran out of the building iron going after that shot.
Tony Kukoc, 8 points. He'll have to pick up some of the slack with Pippen in the locker room. Both teams scorching from the field. Malone off the double. Fadeaway jump. No good. Carr, offensive rebound. It was blocked away from behind, but Jordan is going to get the foul.
Yeah, that's right, Ian. Jordan thought he had a good block on it, but he does get the foul, and we'll take a timeout here.
5:52 to play, second quarter. The Utah Jazz with a 1-point advantage. 34-33, Utah in front. Game 6 of the 1998 NBA Finals. Our coverage will continue live on Channel 4. Hope you can stay with us. All the action from Salt Lake City, the Delta Center. More when we come back.
The Citroën Summer Exclusive Collection. Okay, so the young people go barking bonkers for the new Saxo Open Scandal Limited Edition. It's full-length electric vinyl sunroof, CD player, and 2 years of the free insurances. Yes, yes, and all for little more than 8,000 of your English hackers. But I, Serge Lapelle, designer extraordinaire, will put those Citroën upstart to their place with the one electroset.
Saxo, with 2 years free insurance.
Gum, carry it with you. Wrigley's chewing gum, the big fresh flavor. Wrigley's chewing gum, carry it with you. Wrigley's chewing gum, the big fresh flavor. Wrigley's chewing, carry the big fresh flavor wherever you go, whatever you do. It's the finest backup flavor wherever you go.
Wrigley's chewing gum is as big and fresh today as it's always been.
The big fresh flavor. Wrigley's chewing gum, carry it with you. Wrigley's chewing gum, the big fresh flavor. Wrigley's chewing gum, carry it with you.
Well, no shocks here. There's nothing in it. It's been that kind of series. We had a couple of runs earlier on in the first quarter, but 33-34 is a 1-point lead for the Utah Jazz over the Chicago Bulls. And, Jim, we heard the news there from Ian and Mike that Scott is unlikely to return. The first thing that we can see that they'll have replaced is that he's trying a lot of guys out there for their shooting to see who's going to get a hot hand, hopefully for later on. But they're going to miss Pippen elsewhere, aren't they?
They've got shooters other than Pippen and Jordan, but where they don't have people who are dynamic offensively, off the dribble, attacking the basket. All these other guys have to be set up, and that's what Jordan and Pippen always did, set up the other guys for the open shot because they drew additional defensive players other than the one who's guarding them. The other thing that's really hurting is ball handling because Scottie Pippen is the best ball handling forward in the league.
Yeah.
So he takes the pressure off the other guards because Chicago's number 2 guards and 3 guards aren't necessarily that good at handling the ball, so the pressure is being felt there.
And as you say his defence obviously is crucial to this team, and we can see a couple of occasions here where the Jazz are getting theirs. Your hero, there he is, stepping outside.
The dog man.
I don't think he's missed since we've seen him come into this series.
He's hot, the crowd's loving it, he's loving it, and you know, defensively, you know, Scottie Pippen is so important as well. Things like this, offensive rebounds, he would be getting in there and swooping that in. So they miss him on rebounding as well.
Okay, so that's where it could get crucial. He's at the other end of the court for the Bulls, but they're still going to get their points, we should imagine. Okay, it's back to the Jazz, though. They're on the line with Antoine Carr.
A golden opportunity, gentlemen, for the Utah Jazz, with no Scottie Pippen available to the Chicago Bulls. if necessary, a Game 7. June 18th, 1 o'clock GMT. Utah will be the home team. But there's still a lot that has to happen here tonight. It's 35-33. Utah in front with 5:45 remaining in the second quarter. Jordan, straight down the middle. Layup no good. A foul.
And Michael Jordan just spun, knew there would be contact, went directly to the rim, Ian, and got a touch foul at best, and he'll come up and shoot his first free throws of the game.
Guarding Jordan.
It was game 5.
You see the breakdown. Jordan just didn't have it late in that fourth quarter when the Bulls needed it. Well short on the first free throw. And Mike, something that you've touched on, the idea that now as we get into Game 6 of this series, you can look back at the Eastern Conference Finals and say that maybe it's beginning to take a toll on Chicago. A full 7 games against the Pacers, and now the 10 days of rest for the Jazz may be working to their advantage.
Well, they're in a groove again now. An NBA schedule, you play just about every other day with some lapses here and there. So Utah's in a groove, and they're showing it on. They're playing a lot better than they did earlier in this series.
Jordan splits a pair of free throws. He has 14 points. Stockton feeds the post. Malone. Off for Anderson. Running one-hander, no good. Rodman lost it for a moment, got it back. Ron Harper will get it across. We'll see a number of different players handling the ball without Scottie Pippen in the lineup. Jordan sets up shop. To the perimeter. Harper looking tentative on the offensive end. The lob, the catch, and the flip for Michael Jordan.
Yeah, the rub-in by Michael Jordan. He has a physical defensive player on him in Russell. He just spun around him, and the ball waiting for him. In the old days, that's a slam.
16 points for Michael Jordan. Bulls regain the lead. Malone, deflected by Rodman. Somehow got it to Hornacek underneath. It rims out. Anderson couldn't follow it. Malone gets the roll.
Boy, too many opportunities down there for the Utah Jazz, similar to what Chicago did earlier in the series.
They are out-rebounding the Bulls 12-8. Malone with 16 points. Rodman. Quick hands by Stockton. He knocked it out of bounds with 10 seconds remaining on the shot clock.
Well, Rodman over there saying that he got slapped. Phil Jackson yelling at the officials. Officials are taking a verbal beating in this game, Ian. Both sides are all over them.
Dick Bavetta, Dan Crawford, Hugh Hollins. Those are the officials tonight. Harper ball fake. Harper to the outside curve. Jordan. He's called for steps.
I don't know about that one. Michael Jordan would have scored 20,000 less points if they called that consistently on him.
As we hit the 4-minute mark of the second quarter. Jazz in front by 1. Stockton. Bullet pass to the inside. Karl Malone. The scoop shot.
He just got excellent position inside, and he wants the basketball.
39-36. Jordan ties it up with a 3.
Open for just a split second, Ian, as Utah and Stockton try to rush it back the other way. Michael is number 23 tonight.
And he's got 19 points on the board. Malone, one-on-one with Rodman. Bulls stay at home. Malone and a fadeaway. He is really feeling it.
I don't know what that signal is on the way back, but it's just quite a show. Jordan and Malone should just stay on the floor and let them play.
The two best players in the game putting on an exhibition as Kukoc spins it home.
Tony Kukoc loves to go left. He took it all the way there. The defense opens up for Utah. This is the best game in the series so far.
By far. 41-41. Look at the field goal shooting this quarter alone. Under 3 minutes to play first half. Brian Russell gets it on the act. That's a 2-pointer.
See, Kukoc hits, then Russell wants to go right back at him. He scores.
For Russell, his first points of the evening. The Jazz lead by 2. Jordan, pump fake. Michael Jordan.
See, Michael will start talking to you now, Ian. He'll get into Russell's head, try to take him out of his rhythm offensively. Jordan's in one of those grooves where he just feels he cannot be stopped. I guess he always feels like that.
21 points for Jordan. Malone has 20. Stockton to Malone. Hornacek comes over, long jump shot. Two-pointer for Jeff Hornacek. An offensive clinic here in the second quarter being put on by both teams. Timeout, Bulls. A full timeout called by Phil Jackson with 1:49 left, first half. The Jazz 45, the Bulls 43. This has been something else in the second quarter of play. These two teams have been searching for their offensive games, and we hadn't really seen it until tonight.
I love what Karl Malone has done. He knows he can score, but he wants to get everybody else involved. Not like the other game, Game 3, when he went crazy. No one else did anything. He's making passes to other people. Smart play. Michael Jordan just has it right now for Chicago.
45-43, Jazz with a lead, 1:49 left in the second quarter. This has been something. This has been something, guys, back in the studio.
Yeah, and Ian and Mike, I must say, I mean, you'll remember the series, of course, last time, the classic Jordan sick game when he won the game in Salt Lake City. And we often talk about how Michael needs some incentive to get his game going. Perhaps Scottie Pippen being out might just be the thing, the fillip that he needs to get his guys into it and get himself motivated.
I don't think there's any doubt that Michael Jordan feels that he has to take over the game without Scottie Pippen on the floor. Jordan, he just has that look in his eye, Mike.
He does, and I agree. I think Jordan feels like he has to take over and dominate. He's 3 for 4 from three-point range. His game is in full gear, guys.
Both coaches are going pretty going mantic at the officiating. Which team is handling what's happening on the court better, do you think, Ian and Mike?
I'm going to say that Utah would be handling it a little bit better right now. Chicago was a little bit rattled, and we saw Phil Jackson get animated, something that we don't often see. You know that he's feeling the pressure, especially without Pippen. Jackson does not want this series to go 7. Anything can happen in a 7th game. Jordan, always cool, always collected, but I think as a team, Utah has handled it a bit better.
Watch this roughhouse play inside. Russell takes an elbow from Jordan. Look at Russell give it back to him. See, and Jordan sees that. He loves that. He loves that competitiveness as he just goes at Russell there. And I know when they went back down the floor, Jordan would get into Russell's ear and tell him all about it.
Well, that's something about Michael Jordan. He won't respect you if you won't come out and meet the challenge. No, he's not going to play a player better than him. But if the guy doesn't even go out and try to compete, Michael Jordan won't respect it. Oh, Michael Jordan is a human highlight film right now.
And he just goes back down the other floor and he'll play some defense. But that shot started at 16 feet, maybe ended up about 20.
45-45. Jordan has 23. Malone a double. Russell off the penetration. Hornacek is open a 3. Long rebound, Harper. And the Bulls will look to push the pace. Kerr had the hole clogged up by Stockton, and now they'll settle in the half-court set. Guess who? Jordan. Jordan strokes it over Russell. That's his first miss in quite some time. Anderson tried to save it, but he stepped on the baseline.
See, if I was Jordan now, after that miss, you're allowed one of those. He needs to take the ball to the basket now and get himself to the line. Here's the shot where he starts and just fades away. Beautiful touch.
Shannon Anderson will go to the sidelines, replaced by Antoine Carr with 1:01 remaining on the clock. Luke Longley back into the game for Chicago. He picked up 2 quick fouls, only 8 minutes of action so far. And that will mean that Ron Harper will exit.
So you have to meet that size. Antoine Carr in for Anderson. So you bring in Longley to guard him.
Kerr fakes a 3-pointer. The Bulls shooting 77% in the second quarter of action. Jordan will back in on Hornacek. Jordan settles for the jump shot, and it rims out. Longley taps it to the wrong team. Hornacek across the line. And the Jazz will slow it down with 38 seconds to play first half. Malone inside. Nice duck in by John Stockton.
See so much attention given to Karl Malone. John Stockton moves without the basketball and makes a beautiful layup off the nifty feed from Karl Malone. The floor well spaced also. Jordan wants to take that jumper now, and he's been so hot, but he's missed his last two. You have to look for him to maybe get something to the rim.
Just a shade under 35 seconds to play in the second. Jordan will handle the ball. Pull up for three. Jordan, some ill-advised shots here in the waning moments of the second quarter. And about a second and a half difference. They can hold for one. Utah fans cheering on the home team. Stockton controlling the tempo. On the drive. And he is hammered with 6.9 left.
It looked like Steve Kerr gave that foul up as soon as Stockton turned the corner. And you're right, Ian, they did have a foul to give, so it just becomes a side out now for Utah. Harper back for Kerr to play the defense on John Stockton.
Utah with a 2-point advantage. Bulls have played most of this half without Scottie Pippen. Great backdoor cut. Brian Russell. 4.4 seconds left. Jordan with three, with two. Jordan, half court. Nearly went down as time expires. End of the first half at the Delta Center. The Jazz 49, the Bulls 45. Utah trying to stave off elimination for the second time. They were able to do it once. Can they do it again? 4-point lead for the Jazz. Let's head back to the studio. Mark Webster, Jim Brandon.
Thank you, chaps. Back with those in but a few minutes' time. We'll be bringing you highlights from the first half and also, of course, this crucial second half in this classic series. And speaking of that, we'll also show some classic action from the Bulls from a few years ago. So make sure you stick around. We'll be back in a couple of minutes' time with that second half.
I was about to go out live on air when suddenly my stomach started to rumble. Then I realized I hadn't had my shreddies.
Hunger strikes!
I should have known better. It's Shreddies, with their layer upon layer of whole wheat and great taste, that keep hunger locked up. And tomorrow, Shreddies all over the country will keep hunger at bay until about lunchtime.
Shreddies and frosted Shreddies keep hunger locked up till lunch.
Chat and date. Call friends and swap telephone numbers 0894 79 79 79.
Centrum. Nothing has more of the essential vitamins and minerals at precisely 100% of ECRDA. Centrum. Are you 100%?
Ambrosia custard is delicious on something cold.
Ambrosia. Devon knows how they make it so creamy.
Because Ryvita's only full of healthy stuff, you'll feel so good there's nothing you can't do.
Shock, shock, horror, horror, shock, shock, horror.
If you want to talk man to man
Or woman to woman, dial 0891 565 565 now.
and make contact with people you'd like to know better.
After the divorce, I had to pack in my job to look after my kids. Well, they're everything to me. But when I saw people going to work in the morning, I just wanted to cry. I really wanted a job, but I had to make sure the kids were looked after. You see, I loved working with people, but then I could only watch them pass me by. A friend told me about working benefits. If I do 16 hours a week or more, I could get extra cash on top of my wages, help with the rent, and some money towards childcare. It was good to get back. I felt me and the kids were on the move again.
For a leaflet on working benefits, call free anytime on 0800 88 44 11.